This is The Civil Fleet, the podcast focused on activist-led refugee rescue and support missions across Fortress Europe, with me, Ben Coles. So in April, I went to Bosnia to go and report on a group called No Name Kitchen. No Name Kitchen are an activist group that looks after people and tries to support people on the move along the Balkans. So this is actually part 2 of a 2-part series. You might want to go and check out the first part for it to make any sense. But let me just fill you in. I was in a town called Bihac in Bosnia, which is a small town near the border with Croatia. It's basically the end of the Balkan route into Europe, and it's like the edge of the European Union's fortress. So a lot of people travelling along the Balkan route end up in this town Bihac, or pass through it at least. I'd heard a lot about what happens at the border with Croatia and Bosnia, how many people on the move are being forced back into Bosnia or being beaten up and being abused by the guards, the border guards in Croatia. I'd even heard about people making it through to Croatia and then being forced back to Bosnia. And if you listen to part 1, you'll have heard some of those cases, and we're going to hear more in this part 2. So in part 1, we heard from a few of the activists with No Name Kitchen in Bosnia. We're going to hear from them again, a few more of those activists in this part. We also heard from a few people on the move, and we're going to do the same in this one. We'll hear from a few more people on the move here. So when we left off in the last episode, we had just visited Lipa Camp. Well, we couldn't actually go inside Lipa Camp, so we were hanging out near there, and we spoke with a few people on the move. And that's where I'm going to take you back to now. This was a few days later. We'd gone back to Lipa to go and meet people and to hang out with them and just show some solidarity. And here is a conversation I had with a guy who we're going to call Sam from Afghanistan. So Sam, thank you so much for talking to me. It's really nice to meet you.
And me too.
And I'm really glad that you've come to talk to me. Your English is amazing.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Tell me, why is your English so good?
So it has 2 reasons that my English is like a little bit good, not too good. So one of the reasons is like I had the classes in Afghanistan when I was in Afghanistan. So I went to the classes to learn the English. So I had the grammar and all of the things in the class to put together the words to get a sentence. So I had this from there, and the other one, so we had the soldiers from British soldiers, American soldiers in Afghanistan and during the wars, and after the war also Afghanistan, we had the different kind of the organizations in Afghanistan. So I have been with them, interacted with them, so the speaking skills comes from there because we had spoke a lot together there.
Did you work with the British soldiers, did you say?
We could say work, and we cannot count it as a work because I was like helping them to communicate with the people at that area. So kind of doing the translating work for them, and making I was being like a bridge between the people, Americans or British, and the normal people in the city.
And where was you? Were you in Kabul or somewhere
I
else?
was from Herat. I'm from Herat.
Okay. And then I think, I don't want to ask you a sad question, but could you tell us, why did you leave Afghanistan? I can imagine it's the Taliban, but tell us why you left.
Yeah, one of the problems or one of the reasons I can say that was the Taliban. So I left Afghanistan. That was the first reason. And the second reason, I couldn't be in that harmony in Afghanistan that we had at that time. So it was like blasts all over the city, all over the country, and the people were like, some of them too much aggressive. They were like acting too much aggressive and fighting with each other and killing each other at that moment. So I thought that that's the time to leave the country. So at that time, I just wanted to come out of the country. I didn't mean it to come this far. So at that time, I just came to the Iran. And then it goes with the flow, you see. Now we are here in Bosnia.
How long have you been? So when did you leave? So you're like 23, did you say?
Yeah.
And when?
That's
How
right.
long ago did you leave Afghanistan?
So it's been like 5 years now. It's been 5 years that
Wow.
I left
So
Afghanistan.
you were like 18 when you left, I think.
Yeah, I was 18 at that moment. Yeah, when I left.
And so, what did you do in Iran? How was Iran?
I work in a shop in Iran. Yeah, that was good. Good experience. The people were like, you see, the people. We are not the exact language, but you can say the similar. We were like much similar. And the part that I born there and I grew up there, it's like too much near to Iran border and to Iran. So because of that, my talking skills and talking type was like similar, much similar to Iran Farsi language. So I could like much better and faster than others Afghan people in Iran. So it was interesting and simple for me, easier at least.
That's great. And so, how long were you in Iran, and why did you leave?
I went there like 1 year in Iran, and then it was kind of funny and silly also because I was working there. So then suddenly one of my friends, he just came to Iran and he said, I'm gonna go to the Turkey. So I said, why are you gonna go to the Turkey? Because he said at that time the Turkey was like giving cards, or maybe you can go on asylum, ask for asylum in Turkey. He said, of course, my friend. So I was like, wait a minute, maybe I can come also with you like to Turkey. Maybe I can ask there for asylum, because in Iran they don't give you any paper if you ask also. So that's the problem. So we he thought that I'm kidding with him, so he didn't get it too much serious. But the day that he was like lifting for coming to Turkey, so I tell him that I'm coming also. So he was like shocked a little bit, and he was happy also. So we came like without any reason to Turkey. So one of the reason was like just getting paper
Yeah.
for like living freely
Yeah.
in Turkey, because we couldn't live free in Iran. They were also like chasing the people who didn't have paper, and they also didn't give the paper. So that's the problem. So if you are like if you don't want them, so just take them out. If you want them, just give them the paper, because that's even more benefit for you. You are getting the taxes, you are getting the like everything, insurance money, all the things from them. So that's even good for the government, but they are not doing this.
And so you lived in Turkey. You told us a few minutes ago that you worked in a bar in Turkey. Where in Turkey were you?
So exactly, I was like, there's a spot. So it's the famous mosque, the Blue Mosque, that they has just. It was a church before, and they turn it into a mosque. The famous Blue Mosque in Istanbul, in Fatih. There's a place, and in front of that mosque there is a street that they call Ticaret Hane. So in that street we had a restaurant there called Vamos, and I was like working in that restaurant as a bartender. So for 3 years, I think. So yeah.
Oh,
for
wow.
3 years.
I went to Istanbul in maybe 2017, I think, 2018. You were there maybe then.
Maybe
Maybe.
we have met
Maybe
there and
we
we don't
met.
remember. Yeah. Yeah, it's like this. It's good being there.
And it sounded like, from what you said earlier, that you liked living in Turkey.
To be frank and to be honest, I love to be in Turkey. I love to be in Turkey. So I didn't want it to live the Turkey until they forced us to live. So we didn't have, and I didn't have any other option. So I couldn't go back to Afghanistan. The situation is all that you can see. Even you know what's going on in there. So life threats and other options that we had in Afghanistan. So I couldn't go back, and the Turkey was like putting under pressure the refugees. So they were like every moment they were like searching for the refugees, and after that they were like coming into houses at the midnight. So they were like putting too much pressure at the refugees at that moment. So that was the last part and the last hope that I had until that moment after 3 years. So at the last, I choose to leave.
And you said you've been travelling for 2 years, 1 year? I can't remember.
1 year.
So you left Turkey. You left Turkey 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And then, so can you tell us about your journey from Turkey?
Um,
And are you okay? It's okay talking to me still, Sam?
Yeah. It's okay. It's a pleasure having this conversation. So, if I want to about my journey, so it was not that much good at the beginning. Even now, it's not good, but at the beginning, it was too much worse because when I just left Turkey and we just passed the border from Turkey to Greece, I came through Greece. So
did you take the boat or did you go overland?
No, we go over land. So at the moment that you pass the fences to the another country, you enter the country. So at that moment, the fences was too long, like I think so, like 2.5 meters. So we put a ladder on it to pass it. So at the moment I was with the bag was like heavy as hell. So at that moment I dropped myself from the up of the ladder down. So my leg was hurt at that moment. So it turned. So I think I came all of the Greece. I passed the Greece like 3 days, 3 nights by walk into the jungles and mountains with a broken leg.
Wow, my God.
Yeah, so I don't even believe. So how did I pass? How am I here?
You're so strong.
Yeah, I don't believe that how strong I am that I'm here. So because at that moment I didn't have, when I think at that moment I didn't have any other options.
Yeah.
So if we were like in middle of the jungle.
Hi, this is editing Ben here, just button in quickly. So Sam just said that he and his friends were in the middle of the jungle. The term jungle is used quite often by people on the move, and it generally means in the middle of nowhere. They weren't literally in the jungle, obviously. He just means, he was in the countryside away from the cities. Anyway, back to Sam.
So that person, or if I'm gonna go like the leader who was like taking us from one country to the other and passing Greece. So if you were like sitting at that moment, he would leave you there.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't care. Like if he would like tell you just come. If you come. If you don't come, so he was like telling to the other boys, let's go. If you want to come, he can just join us. If you didn't want to come, you can sit here. And if you sit there, it's like middle of nowhere. So it's a little bit dangerous, maybe too much more a little bit dangerous. So it was like probably 50-50. You die, or the police officers in Greece, they found you and then they beat you that you wish you would die. That was better that you die. So it's like that there.
I'm so sorry you had to do that, Sam. That's so terrible.
It's kind of, but I'm happy. Like I'm here now.
So what happened after? Say you got to Greece, you walked a long time with a broken leg.
Yeah. I went to the first refugee camp that I can say. It was in Pirot in Serbia. So it's near to the Greece and into Serbians land. Mm-hmm. So it's a refugee camp called Pirot. So that's the first camp that I went there with a broken leg. So I went there like for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I was there. Then I came with a broken leg also from there.
Which part of your leg did you break?
It was in the ankle here. Like,
so your right ankle.
Yeah.
Sorry,
my right ankle.
You wished, when you got there, you wished something.
Yeah, it was. I wish like the facilities and the doctors and that camp was like better. It's not that good. They don't care too much about the refugees that they get there. Even now it's worse. They don't care even now a little bit about them. That time, like 1 year ago, it was better that I came. But the boys are like coming now. I can see them like in the camp, and I ask them what's going on in the previous countries like Greece and Serbia. So they tell me like the situations are now much worse and much dangerous than before. It's being like too much bad than before. So I'm happy that I'm here.
So was it easy to get to Bosnia after Serbia? Was it difficult to cross, or was it okay?
I can say the most easiest country that I have passed and I get to it was Bosnia. So maybe it was because of the leader that we pay him to get us here. Maybe that was the benefit that we had at that moment. So he took us here just with walk, like a 1 hour walk, and then we passed the border, and then taxi came, took us to the Sarajevo camp. So it was not that much hard to get here.
And then have you tried to cross to Croatia?
I had like 7 times
Seven
tried
times.
to go, but before it was better, but now after that the European Union paid like Croatia and other countries to block the refugees and don't let them to pass through. So they are like being too much aggressive and getting like using too much violence against the refugees now.
Can you tell us about that? I mean, if you don't have to.
I have survived. Yeah, of course, I have survived the violence against refugees from Croatian police. So they put the refugees in winter. I went there in winter. So they get your clothes, they get your jacket, and they put you in the water. The river that they called Una River in Bosnia, they put you in the water in Una River. Then they ask you to go to the other side. So they get you a bag, they get your phone also, the money that you have with you. They get everything from you, and they send you back to Bosnia. And each and every time that I went to Croatia, maybe some of the times they didn't put me in the water, but they took the phone, the bag, the jacket. In winter, so 5 times was in winter, so it was too cold. So they send you back. They don't care that what's going on to the other side. How gonna you get to the camp without money, without phone, and without jacket? Also in this winter, in this weather. So they didn't care about these things. So the only thing that they cared that they wanted to do something that you don't come back.
That's really horrible. That's just that's crazy. And so have you ever made it into Croatia, or is it just the border? Like, have you been?
I went through like too much long way into Croatia. Like one time I was like near to get to the Zagreb, but that's not the point. If you didn't get to the Zagreb, you cannot go to the camp.
So you have to get to Zagreb before you're safe, right?
Yeah, until that you are in Zagreb, you are not safe.
It's like a video game or something. You have to get to the base, right?
Again and again and again. And you go, you lose. I mean, it's like a video game, exactly as you said. You go, you lose, you die, you come back again and start from zero, and again and again and again. And the hardest point is like not trying again and again. The hardest point is like losing the money. The money that I had, the money that boys had. They spend money to buy bag, buy phone, like buy shoes, clothes, every time that they go to the game. And everything that they had, the police took everything that they have and they send them back without anything. So each and every time they spend like 300 to 350 euros for their all the stuffs that they have, all without phone. So that's really hard.
That's really terrible. I mean, and then you've met these people a few times. Like, how have they helped you?
Yeah. I have seen like Croatian police officers several times. So I'm like I can say I'm like my opinion, personal opinion. So I'm used to it now. When I see them, so now we are like friends. So now if they send us back, if they send me back, I told them, okay, bye for now. I see you later. I'm gonna come back. So they also know as we had to go. We don't have any other option. So that's until now I have survived too much traumas, too much things till here. I went past through Greece, I went past through Serbia, Turkey, Iran. So these borders I went through, so that I have been through 80% of this journey. So that 20% is just the Croatia that I have to pass. So I'm not giving up at this point.
It's like the final boss.
Yeah. So if you're gonna like send me back again and again and again, so it's useless. You can just buy some time. You cannot like make people like leave their goals.
Yeah. So I want to ask you two more questions, Sam. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
One is a difficult question, one is a nice question. Which one do you want first?
We don't have a middle one.
There's no middle question, I'm afraid. Difficult. It's not a difficult question. It's just a sad question.
Let's. They say like the easy question is like a dessert after the food, the decaf. So let's just have it for the last.
Okay, we'll do the difficult one and then the
Yeah.
next one. So the difficult question is so people in my country. This is not my opinion. It's people in my country. People maybe in Germany and different countries will say, you shouldn't do this. You should go back to your country. I think that's stupid. I think you should go where you want. I can go where I want. I think you should. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I'm not passing through any comments about anyone. So if I'm gonna be logical, the people they are also like they have this thing that they can say that because that's their country. So we are getting into their countries. So that's normal that they say that to us, that you should go back to your country, that's not your countries, and etc etc. So it's not that much. I'm not saying that it's not hurtable, it hurts. So at that moment that you hear some things like comments, they pass these comments. So it's not like this that it's okay, you're used to it, nobody's used this to these things, kind of things like this. So but yeah, it's hurtable and logical at the same time. So if someone is like coming to my country, I don't know my people, how do they behave to a refugee. We didn't have such a kind these things yet, but I don't know how they gonna, maybe they behave even worse. But if someone is like there in another country, so maybe they have a problem that they are there. So but it's being kind, it's a good option to that person, to that refugees, but it's all goes to the mentality and kind of thinking of that person and the reasons. Maybe they have their own reasons that they saying that thing. Maybe sometimes, I'm not saying this always, sometimes the refugees are making some troubles, they are making bad things, they are doing bad works. So at that moment, at the anger, or maybe that the people sees some things like this, they think that all of the refugees are like that. So maybe sometimes it comes from there, I don't know.
Thanks for answering that question. I don't like to ask the question, but I think
that's okay. That's okay. It's normal.
You were only 23, but you're very wise, I think. You're wise beyond your years. And then, so my last question is an easy one. You told us where you want to go. Tell us where you want to go and what your dream is when you get there.
My biggest dream, I have told you before that we are like chatting like a friends here. I told you that I'm gonna be study IT in Germany. I'm like love to go to the Germany and live there. So the biggest dream that I had is not going to the Germany. It's not going learn IT, study IT in there. So the biggest dream that I had is just live in peace. I had lots of traumas. I have survived lots of violence in Afghanistan. I have like lots of things that people that they passed comments like you don't belong here, go back, as you said, that go back to your country. So I asked for asylum in different countries, in Turkey, in Iran, they don't give it. So because of that, they don't accept you as a person that normal person in their own country. They don't see you like a normal person, as an Iranian, as a Turkish. So because of that, they don't accept the refugees. So being in a country, living like a person, not like a thief. So when you are like in other countries, you have to run from the police officers. It's too bad. When you see some police officers in England, you just say hi and pass, but you don't think too much. But if you when you are like a refugee in another countries, so when you see a police officer from far, like too far, too much far, so you at the same time that you just saw him, you see around that where can you run out from that situation, and where that you can turn your way, that you don't go up to that police officer over there. So these are the things that I had till now, but I don't want to have it anymore. I just want to have a normal life.
I hope you get a normal life too.
Yeah, I hope.
And you said you wanted to do you wanted to learn JavaScript and you wanted to become like a web developer, right?
Yeah. I would love to learn IT and be like a site designer, or maybe Java, or maybe something else that I can work easily from home, or maybe when I go to the vacation to the other countries, I can work from there also. So that would be a good work, and it's according to my personality, and according to me, it's good for me. I think so. I don't know. So I hope it would good, but I don't know that it's gonna work or no.
I'm sure it will. Sam,
I
thank
hope
you so
so.
much for your time. Thank you for talking to me. And I
It's a
hope I will see
pleasure.
you in the future when you live in Germany. I will come and visit you.
That would be a pleasure on mine that I'll see you again in Germany at that time. So that would be a good surprise, I think so, at that moment that I have you there in Germany. So you can also see that did it work or no.
Can you
say
speak any
that,
German? Have you learned any?
No,
Oh, you should
no.
talk to
I'm
Clara and Anouk.
terrified about Germany, like Dutch. So because of that, the boys like said that it's quite too much hard to learn Germany language. So the Dutch language is like harder, much harder than English. I think so. But it has some of similarities in English and German language. Dutch, I have saw it like it's similar.
Some of it's similar, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
it makes easier for me to learn the Dutch language.
It'll be easy
I
for
think
you,
so.
I think.
Yeah. According to the other boys, it would be similar for me.
All right, Sam,
I
thank you
hope
very
so.
much. That was Brill. Thanks very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay, that was Sam. I really, really enjoyed speaking to him. He was such a nice guy. I'm so glad he took the time to talk with me. I really hope that he has made it to Germany or to somewhere else safe, and I hope he's no longer having to live this homeless life on the road. It's just really terrible for him. So hopefully he's made it there. Anyway, we're going to stay in Lipa now and listen into a conversation I had with two of the NNK activists that shared the same role. We've actually heard from them very briefly in part one, so go back and listen to that if you haven't already. We're going to talk to Jacopo and Anouk now. Their role, or focal point, as you might remember from part one, which is the term they use at NNK, their focal point was reporting. So basically, they would speak with people on the move who had experienced violence and they would record it. And then eventually, NNK puts these all into reports and sends them out. So releases them to the press. So you can check the show notes and you'll see some of those. Anyway, before we start with this interview with Anouk and Jacopo, let me just explain a few things. There's a few things to remember. POM, do you remember that from part one? A POM is not just a term that Australians use to ridicule English people. It's also used by NNK to mean people on the move, POM. And basically they use this term for migrants, for refugees, for anyone basically that's on the move. So we're going to use that term in this interview, POMs, or people on the move. Another term to look out for is the game. So a lot of the people on the move use this term, the game, to mean they're going to cross the border. I don't know why they use it. It's quite an interesting thing psychologically. Maybe they use it as a term to to sort of make what they're doing seem less awful, I suppose. I don't know. So yeah, that's what, when they talk about the game, this is what a term that people on the move use to describe crossing the borders and, you know, having to dodge the guards and this kind of thing. All right, I think that's everything I need to say. So here's Anouk and Jacopo. And now we're recording.
Woo!
So Jacopo and Anouk, we are in the middle of nowhere in the beautiful sunshine and outside. We can hear the cicadas singing. It's beautiful. It's a really nice place to do an interview. Can you first of all tell us, maybe Anouk, we'll start with you. Can you tell us why you got involved with NNK? Why did you want to do this? Why did you want to come to Bosnia with NNK?
I've did an education the last 3 years, and after this, like, all of the work felt really useless for me, and like, I don't know, to work inside of the capitalism is like a thing where I don't find the sense in it, or like this job actually didn't feel like I can really do something. And I like to work together with people and to understand what's important for people and what are people interested in, and like what is an important thing. So yeah, I started to do some research what I want to do with like free time which I had after my education, and then I end up here.
What about you, Jacopo? How did you end up here?
I think that I found NNK because I wanted to escape from an academia way of approaching migrations, because I've studied international relations for 5 years now, the bachelor, and I'm finishing the master, and I am really passionate about migration, but I think I was missing like some work on the field and approach with people that are actually involved. And so last semester I was in Brussels for an Erasmus, and I met a friend of mine who works for an Italian NGO, and I was just asking him about some contacts to come to the Balkans to see the situations, how the things are going on here, and that's how I found the NNK contact. And actually this 3 months experience I'm having will be also the basis for my master thesis about pushbacks and border violence.
Very nice. I hope your thesis goes well. Hope you can finish it on time.
Hope
and
so.
you get a distinction or whatever the top mark is. So you two are both doing the same role, as I understand.
Yeah.
The same focal point. I think it's reporting, but it might have a different name. Can you tell us about your role, what it is, and what you do?
Actually, I think the proper name is protection and border violence, and our role is mainly the one of collect testimonies from people on the move that got pushed back from Croatia to Bosnia back, and also to try to understand if some discriminations and violence are also happening inside of Bosnia by Bosnian authorities towards Poms. And yeah, so I would say that our mainly goal is like to reach people out, tell that we are not only giving food and clothes, but we are also trying to have an advocacy on like how the European Union has to change its border policies. And so we try to convince them to share with us a testimony of their experience and what happened on the border. And it's always completely anonymous, so people won't face any threatening as a consequence of their sharings. I don't know if you want to add something about what we do in the interview.
No, not really. I think it's more about like also to maybe understand which routes people are normally trying, or like where police are push people back, and how actually the work of the police is in Croatia, but also to understand how the Balkan routes really work. And I feel like it's both also tied from this.
And so, can you tell us, where do you normally do these reports, and what happens with them when? Because you two will talk to people on the move who will tell you, oh, maybe I was hit by the Croatian police or whatever they tell you. Where do you do them? How do you do them? And what happens to the reports?
We like normally do it in coffees, in a park, in a quiet space, or we try to find a quiet space, what is sometimes really difficult because we meet people who are maybe injured or can't walk that way, and then we have to find a place, and we are just a small town, so a lot of people are talking about a lot of stuff, and we're like trying to find some good spaces where we have like place and room to speak openly, but sometimes it's a bit hard to find it. And then we are collecting some answers to some questions, and we write it down one day later or some day later, and then we all like publishing it on a database from No Name Kitchen.
I think No Name Kitchen has shared some of these. I know I read one, and I interviewed a guy called Sergio, I think, or Sergio, from NNK, maybe earlier this year or last year, I can't remember. But he was talking about reports that activists in the field have put together. So yeah, and I think you've told me, one of you or both of you have told me about sometimes like you to try to go somewhere with people on the move in Bihac. To do this, you can be like some coffee shops won't let you in, some restaurants and bars won't let you in with the people on the move. Is that right? Has that happened to you?
Yeah, it does. And it's also, I would say, a way for us to keep the conversation the most informal as we can, because we are trying to collect maybe also parts of traumas for people, and we don't want to be in a stressful environment for them. And I would also like to add that sometimes for us it's also difficult to bring out the interview, because we are talking about violence towards people, and we have persons that are in a really difficult moment of their life, and we just want to help them, listen to them, but at the same time we also need to collect some quantitative data, for example, about the police officers, the uniforms, the vehicles they use, the technology. There is always really effective in a bad way towards bomb and on the border, like with drones. And yeah, so taking out an interview, it's sometimes difficult to balance this emotional part and at the same time the quantitative and data one that is still important for having a better and more effective advocacy towards the European institutions.
It's quite hard. I know from my experience as a journalist, it's quite difficult to ask people to tell you about the worst moments in their life, right? So if you're like, oh, so tell me about the time you got beaten up by the police, it's quite difficult to ask, particularly to these people on the move, because there's a huge beetle on that shoe.
Oh my god. Oh, wow, so beautiful.
Oh.
Maybe we should ask the beetle some questions.
Yeah.
So how do you find that, asking people about, do you find that difficult to ask them about it? Do you find it traumatizing to yourselves?
I would say that at the beginning I felt a bit guilty about asking and maybe insisting on some informations, but I saw with the passing of time that people on the move are really available and helpful when he tries to collect information, because I think they understand that even if the single report would not change their immediate life in future or the possibilities of having a successful game, it's still important for other people that are coming next. And yeah, I think it really depends on how people can understand and help also with this advocacy part of our work.
Yeah, I think it's really important to get what happens out, isn't it? It might be depressing and everything, but it's really good to get it out. Hopefully the people in power can change things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. But I also think we just have a quick contact with people. We actually with some people we take the reports from, it's like we just have maybe one talk with them, and then we ask for a report, and we don't have like an actual relationship with them. And for me it's like sometimes hard to get such a little input of them live, and then it's like we just talk about heavy stuff, and we don't talk about like stuff what is important for the people, or like other personal stuff, and like it's like a kind of reducing their life on this pushback. Sometimes it feels like this, and I feel like this is sometimes really hard, or also like that we have all this information after it, and we like get all the emotions, but we can't really do something with it. We can just write it down, and we know all the shit, but we don't have any kind of work how we can like change something actually for the people.
Can you tell us about some of the abuses that people have told you that they face? Like, I've seen someone whose hand was beaten up, seen people with bruises. Jacopo, you mentioned something about people being stuck in a car.
Yeah, also gunshots in the air, also people that are threatened with guns by policemen. Today we had a report with a young woman that was pushed into the ground by police, and she fell into a rock and broke her leg.
Fuck.
And even if she asked for help from police after the happening, they just didn't do anything. They ignore her. And yeah, I think that the violence by police is still happening, and is continuously happening since 2017, even before. And they are just trying to externalize the borders, to catch even before the bombs with drones, with technology. But the violence, it's still the same, I would say. Maybe even worse, I don't know. Beatings with sticks, with bare hands. And
I heard about people being made to stand in the water.
Yeah, people are pushed into the water, like the Una Sana is the river between of Croatia and Bosnia, close to Bihac, and a lot of people are pushed into the water before they like have to go back to Bosnia, and the police is using the water as something that people can't go back to Croatia again because they're wet and cold, and the phones don't work anymore, and yeah, they're using the river as a part of the pushback. And I've seen in winter one of the hardest thing, the Croatian police took the shoes of 10 people, and they let them the backpacks and clothes and everything, and they just took the shoes, and it was like -9 degrees and it was snowy. And people were like 10 kilometers away from Bosnia and had to walk 10 kilometers without shoes through the snow.
That's awful, isn't it? That's fucking awful. And that, yeah, because a lot of the violence you're talking with people here is what the Croatian border guards are doing, right? Have people told you about violence that happens earlier in the Balkan route, or do you focus mostly in, because you're in Bosnia, focus on the Croatian border?
we usually focus on the Croatian border, since we know that there are also other teams of NNK at the moment in Serbia and Bulgaria. But it's really common that people also tell us about what happened during the route before coming to Bosnia. We were having a phone call with a friend of ours, and he said that he was just taken into a detention camp in prison actually for 2 months in Serbia, without having any possibility to appeal this decision, and he had just to wait for the judge to impose him to leave Bosnia immediately. And that's why he's been in Bosnia now for the past 8 months, trying continuously to go on game. I think today was the 11th time he was pushed back. And yeah, but violence still happens at the borders even before coming to Bosnia. I would say that maybe now it's even more violent, the situation between Bulgaria and Turkey, which is maybe the very first border that bombs have to cross to reach the European Union. So it's harsh everywhere.
Yeah, I think also between of Turkey and Greece, it's like people are talking about that stuff and also talking about what happened before, but like we focus more on the violence at this border, but some people are really interested into telling their story, and I feel like that is really important to listen to. Yes.
So I want to ask you something else now, but was there anything else you wanted to say about the violence and about your role or NNK or Bosnia before I ask you? I'm going to change the subject completely. Well, not completely, but pretty much. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything I should have asked you?
That most of the people who are here have like a beautiful dream or are just humans who are searching for a better life and have to go through all this shit, and they're going from a place most of the time where happened a lot of violence, and then they're at this border and the same, like another shit, but like a lot of violence happened to them again. And I feel like people don't deserve it like this.
Yeah, one person I interviewed the other day, Palm, a person on the move, they were talking to me, and they didn't sound like, you know, a classic refugee. You know, they weren't persecuted in their country. Obviously, where they were from is difficult. It's not hard to live there. But this guy is just tracing his dream, and I thought when I was his age, I did the same thing, and because I have a British passport, I can do that, and it's very easy for me. And also probably for you too, as an Italian and German person, you can go wherever you want. But these people have to go through intense violence just to have the life that we live. And what have we done to deserve it compared to him?
Yeah, and I think maybe actually also to this, I feel like they will not go to Europe and will have the life what we have in Europe. Like, we are still white people, and like, I don't know, we are all white people here, and they will not go to Europe and will have the easy white privileged life. Like, I don't know, it don't stop after the border.
Yeah, their journey has only just begun, I suppose, when they get to the EU. So, want to ask my last question is, I know you two have been here a while. I think you've been here a while anyway, a few months at least. Can you tell me about like something that's been really heartwarming for you? Either a moment with a palm or your relationship with each other, with the other activists here, seems really close. My podcast is always really depressing, and I really like to find something nice in this situation. So have you got any heartwarming situations or touching situations that you've been in the last couple of months, either with people on the move or with each other?
I think one of the heartwarming situations for me is like, I don't know, I was in winter here in December and January, and there were like two guys, and they were both really creative, and one of them were like writing us every day in the morning a poem, and it was really beautiful and really sweet to get all the creative stuff from a person and to see their like dreams and what's important for people, and it was like a really heartwarming moment for me, and like hard to understand how people can still be so creative and so full with love on this place. But yeah, it was a really beautiful person.
How about you, Jacopo?
I would say that the first thing that came to mind was a couple of days ago. Me and Luke at the bus station, and we decided to buy some tickets for a friend of ours that wanted to reach another part of Bosnia. And actually, before leaving, he said, yeah, you know, I have a little sister, she is only 9, and she's always asking of you, because she really enjoys the time we pass together. And yeah, it was really heartwarming to me, because it's not only what we do in action, but it's also like how people will remember us and our relationship, even if it has been a short period of time. Maybe we'll have to sign.
Hopefully, and that's really nice. Both of the stories are really good. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay, we're going to leave Lipa camp now. That was a really nice day we had there. The sun was shining. It was beautiful. You might remember in episode 1 when we went to Lipa, it was chucking it down with rain. But this day, it was stunning. You could hear as you heard, the cicadas or the crickets or whatever they were chirping along in the grass. It was a lovely day. I met so many people, and I have some other interviews of people that we did there and last time, which I'll put on the Civil Fleet website in the future. I couldn't fit everything into this. I had to do some brutal cutting. Anyway, we're going to go to Barichi camp now. And you might remember, if you've listened to part 1, Barichi camp was inside the town of Bihac. And in Barichi, that was a camp that was for women and families. They could stay in that camp, whereas the men were kept in Lipa, which is a long walk away from town. Anyway, Barichi, again, we couldn't go inside the camp. We hung out there just to show some solidarity with people, just to talk to them as human beings rather than people trying to fix their problems, you know. And we ended up playing football with a group of people there. I played volleyball for a bit. I even played Uno with some Palestinian kids. It was a really lovely afternoon as well. And so this next interview we're going to hear now is with a guy who is from Morocco, but he has also a Brazilian family, and he's going to tell us about that in this interview. I mentioned him actually in that last clip with Jacopo and Anouk. I'm not so sure that a government will, accept him as an asylum seeker. It doesn't sound like he's escaping from something other than poverty in Morocco. I mean, if it was up to me, people can go wherever they want. I don't care if you're actually a asylum seeker or not. I think you should have the freedom to go wherever the hell you like. I can. Why can't he? And when you'll hear in this interview that this guy is a dreamer. He's chasing his dream. He wants to make something of his life. He wants to do something. He reminds me of me when I was in my early 20s. I was, chasing stuff. I was traveling all around the world, and I could go wherever I want because of my stupid passport. Whereas this guy, he gets treated like a criminal, forced to be homeless and abused by border guards just because of his passport. Anyway, we're going to hear from him now. And at the beginning of this interview, I asked him about his football team because he was so good at football. He absolutely pissed rings around me while I was trying to play against him. And he says Raja, and I thought he said Russia, so I was really surprised to hear that his favourite football team was Russia, but that's not what he said. He said Raja, which I think is a team from Casablanca, Morocco. Anyway, here's the interview. Enjoy. All right, let me talk. Let me see. Can you say something? What did you have for breakfast today?
To be honest, no.
You didn't have breakfast?
No, I just ate something like...
What's your favourite football team?
Raja.
Russia is your
Yeah.
favourite football team?
Yeah, I'm from Casablanca.
Ah, okay.
My mother from Casablanca.
I see. And your
Yeah.
dad is?
He's Brazilian.
Okay.
Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you been to Brazil?
Yeah, for 1 month.
And how did you like it there?
Good, but I like Morocco more because I born there. I can speak the language, so I can vibe. In Brazil it's good, but I don't know the secret.
Okay.
How to live good life there. You know, you need to stay there a long time to know many stuff.
How old are you?
What?
How old are you? What age?
I'm 24.
24.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told you before.
You did, but I
Yeah.
forget. And so, why did you leave Morocco?
Because of the lifestyle, and the one thing it make me leave exactly because I wanna work as a fashion model. So in Morocco, no modeling, no agency. So if you wanna go for the casting, you need to pay money. Not in, for example, in Turkey, you go to the casting for free. Like people call you, come for casting. But in Morocco, you need to give people money, and you see if they will choose you or no.
Okay, I see.
So I take my diploma, my baccalaureate. So I left Morocco, me and my friends. We fly to Turkey, and we try to cross the border of Bulgaria. The police catch us many times, and we try to, the big camion to go inside. So we didn't success. So we came back and we stayed there like for 2 years. We work and we live good life. but we hadn't document. Like all the time you are not comfortable. One day they will deport you to Morocco, and I don't want to go back to Morocco right now. I don't have nothing on me. So me and my friend we talk, and we decide to try to work or to do something. And we find some people, they work in this stuff. They take you from Turkey to Bulgaria or something. So we pay them, and they put us inside a big camion. They open and we go inside.
Like a truck, like a big
Yeah,
like
a big
truck.
camion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they open for us from up of the car, and we go inside and we close, and we go like for 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah,
And what was it like in the truck for 3 days?
Yeah, but we had food, we have phone, we have cigarettes. So, but the challenge, we do that there. We are really sorry. So when you want to pee or something, we do in the car.
Oh,
Like
shit.
it's long, so we go there and do his stuff and come back. It's like that.
Wow.
That's good experience.
A good experience. Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah. And then, so where did you go? You went Turkey to
Turkey to
Bulgaria?
Serbia.
Serbia.
First, Niš. It's the camion stop at Niš, so we stay there like for 6 hours. We waiting. Maybe he will move. He will go to the capital of Serbia. It's more better for us. So he stay like 6 hours, and me and my friend we talk. Maybe he will not move again. He will go to the hotel to sleep like for a few hours. After he will come back. So I told him, let's go. Let's cut that.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
We break it.
Yeah.
And we jump and we go. We go to gas bomb station, gas station. We go there. We find the Wi-Fi. We take a coffee, cigarette. We rest. After we continue the way to Belgrade.
Okay. How was Belgrade? Belgrade.
Was nice, but I don't like Serbian money. It's bullshit, you know.
Yeah.
You have a lot of money in your hand, like €5. When you change it to Serbian money, it's like 1,000 krona or so. What the fuck? If you wanna buy like something to eat, pizza or something, like you pay like 420 krona. It was so scared. Oh.
And then, so you went to Serbia to Bosnia?
From Serbia to Bosnia, we crossed the border at night. We find some problems with the police because they was like coming.
Patrolling, yeah.
Yeah. So we stayed there in the border like for I think 6 hours, 7 hours. So we cross. We go into the I don't know name of that.
The fence? Like, is it like a wall like this?
Yeah, like a wall, but you walk.
Okay, yeah.
So we walk, and when we go to the border, we can't find no police, no one.
Nice.
It was easy for us, so I jump. No, I had my friend first. He jumped after I jump, and we go. We go to bus station. We go early to bus station, so we wait there like for a long time. We slept, relax. In the morning, we meet a Bosnian man. He was so good. He helped us. He told us, be careful. Many people, they will scam you here. So he told us, come with me. We go with him to the cafe. He buy for us coffee. He give us some cigarette. He helped us so good. After we take the bus and we go to Tuzla, I think. From Tuzla, we meet an association. They give us some food. And we take our ticket and we go to Sarajevo, to Blazvuj camp.
Okay. How do you feel about, when you're at the border, how did you feel? Were you nervous?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course, because you think maybe the police is there, they're waiting for us, and you hear many bad experience. Police, if they catch you, they will bite you, they will take your phone, they will. So we don't know what will happen. You're always like scared, but me and my friend, we was like motivated. Like, bro, come on, let's go. It's easy. We will play with them, and we will go. We will pass the border. Easy, and we go. And the God with us. Yeah, but everything is okay.
And then when you make it to the country, when you make it to a new country, how do you feel? When you cross the border, you're like, yes, you feel good?
Of course. Yes, I did it.
It's like
Goal!
but are you worried that it's dangerous?
It's not dangerous. It's 50-50.
50-50.
50-50. Because you are in the jungle, so you don't have nothing with you to attack, you know. If some animals come to you, if people come to you, and I heard many stories about Afghanistan people, but not all Afghanistan people, but some Afghanistan people, they wait some immigrant people in the jungle, so and they told you give us your money, phone, so they scam you and they left.
Yeah, that's scary.
So we were scared.
And then, so you were in Sarajevo,
Yeah.
and how did you get to Bihac?
I was in Sarajevo, and I tried first time from the north of Sarajevo. We crossed the border and we walked like for 20 kilometers, I think. And one woman in the village, she see us, and she called the police, and they came to us. They took us from there to the police station. In the first day, they was good with us, like they want to help us, but we had on us ID card. We have a proof. The policeman, he told us, I wanna fingerprint too. We help you, but you have ID card. I can't. After that, they take us from that police station to transit center. We stayed there like for 6 days, and I had with me like 250, and they told you you need to every week you take 50 euro, only 50 euro, maximum 50 euro for your cigarette. To buy cigarette, they bring you cigarette. At the first week, they told us you need to take 50. I take 50, and I kept 200. And they told us, don't worry, your money is here. When you are leaving, we will give you your money. So there they give you shower, food, everything. When you are leaving, they charge you everything. They charge you food, they charge you, you are staying here, they charge you transport. Police, they take you from here, they charge you everything. So after that, we came back to Blazos, Sarajevo. We came back there. So we hear a lot of experience about people in Bihac. So we think to move, to come here, because here is near to border. Like if they catch you, they deport you, you come back easy. But from Sarajevo to the border, it's take you like too much money to pay taxi and bring you here. So that's why we decide to come here and stay here.
And then, have you tried to go to Croatia?
Yeah, we tried second time, and they catch us for 20 days. And and before 2 days ago, we try from the border is close to here, to the Bihac. We try to go in the camion inside or something like that. You enter and you catch, you take, but we can't success and we came back here.
Okay.
And the people who work this stuff, they are bad, you know. They have many bad things. They always drugs, and so we came back here. We meet some people, they help us, they give us our clothes, and we meet some people here in Bihac. We know them, they are from Algeria. They told us, you can come and stay with us in a place near to Yabuka market. So we are staying with them.
Okay, that's good. And then, where is it? Your friend, I think your friend said he wants to go to Italy.
Yeah, me
Where
too.
do
I
you-
want to go to Italy.
Italy, and then you want to
I
be a
want
model.
to go
in
to
Italy.
Milano, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because in Milano, in Italy, it's big market. You are in Europe, it's easy for you to move from Italy to Spain. So from Spain to like just by the bus. easy to people. They want to work with you.
Mm.
Because when I was in Turkey, many people from Germany, from Italy, they wanna work with me, but when I told them I'm half Brazilian, half Moroccan, they told me, do you have Brazilian passport? If you have Brazilian passport, they will help you. But Moroccan African passport is far away, so you need a lot of...
Mm. But can you not get the Brazilian passport?
No, because my father left us when I am 2 years, 3 years.
Shit, yeah.
So I don't remember even my father or like something.
Yeah.
Just pictures, and
You don't know his name?
I know his name.
And I hope you get to Italy.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, you will get there.
Inshallah, we will go.
And do you think you will live in? If you get to Italy, you will stay there forever, or you want to go back to Morocco, or you want to go Brazil?
Of course. Morocco, I have mom, sister. So of course I will go back to them. So I'm going to Italy for them to live good life and make them live good life also, not only me.
Mm-hmm.
Because my mother, she worked so hard to make me like this, and she was always suffering with me to go to school. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So I'm trying to return back to just a little from all what she did for me. I always dreaming I'm living good life. I'm a rich, and my mother near to me, and I'm listening to Tupac. Ayo, it's your birthday.
You like Tupac?
Of course.
Yeah. I think I have no more questions for you. That was really good. Thank you very
Thank you so much, brother.
Do you want to say anything else?
Raja. Thank you so much.
Thank
guys.
you, mate. Thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot.
much.
You give us good energy. We like the vibe. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If I will say a lot, but it will not be enough, you know?
Yeah.
I just say thank you so much.
There you go. I hope he's made it to Italy, and I hope he's living out his dream. So next up we have Alberto. Alberto was one of the activists with NNK, and his main role was to do with health. So that guy we just spoke to just now, his friend had a problem with his hand, and Alberto helped stitch him up. So we'll hear from him now. He's going to tell us about this and what it's like, what kind of medical things he deals with. Here's Alberto. So Alberto, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you to you, Ben.
It's good to have you on the podcast. So tell me first, why did you decide to come to Bosnia and work with, volunteer with NNK?
I want to do this experience because I made a similar job in Italy this winter time with poor people on the street, and my idea was to go abroad somewhere. And I heard about this NNK. I knew it was a well-managed association. I was curious about Balkanic route and Balkans in general, and so that's why I decided to come here and to have this experience.
So your role here in Bihac, what is your role?
My role is most about healthcare, if I can say healthcare. So it means to follow the people on the move, especially in when they have some disease that can be little one. So maybe I can solve them with my little knowledge about health. Or if there's something more difficult and more important, I will try to arrange an hospital recuperation or other analysis that can be made from the hospital here. Because one important point is that the POMs mostly don't trust and don't believe the authorities in general. That can be police, that can be hospitals, and so on. So they're not so happy to go to the hospital, and even to go alone is very difficult for them. But many times if me or other people from this organization are going with them and bring them, they're very much more. They like more to do it. So.
Do you think the hospital will treat them differently if you go with them?
I think so. I don't have big experiences because I'm here since just 10 days, but they told me before that if they go alone, they're treated not in a good way, not with good manners, maybe they're not visited. Then there is the fact that they don't have money to pay what's going on. So yes, for sure our being together is important.
Do you ever feel nervous about doing this kind of thing? Because I know that it's not happened to us since we've been here, but other activists, other NNK members have had problems with the police. Have you ever been nervous about that so far?
No, to me this never happened, and so until it doesn't happen, I don't feel nervous. Then let's see.
So then, let's talk about the guy who we saw a few days ago.
The Afghan one.
The Afghan guy. Let's talk about him. First, can we talk about, because I think what happened first is other members of the team, they met him one night after he'd been pushed back.
Yes.
I think that was the situation. He'd been pushed back first from the Croatian border back to Bihac. Anyway, a few days later, we saw them in a squat, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And we went in the house. We went in that squat. Talk about what happened in there.
We arrived there. It was this guy with another friend. The guy was laying down on the sofa, and he was feeling not good. And he told us 1 week before he have been stabbed in a fighting where he was not even involved directly, but he was just there to maybe in the middle or to pacify. And so he received this stabbed with a long knife. He bled a lot, as there is a video that they made to confirm that.
Where was he stabbed?
On the leg, in the, how do you call it? In the...
It's like near his bum.
Near his bottom, yeah. And what happened, he said that he have been brought to the hospital by an ambulance, but there he waited 1-2 hours and they didn't visit him that much. And then police came, took his documents, brought him to the police station where he stayed another 2-3 hours, and then he have been left there outside the police station, and so he went back home. So 1 week later that we arrived there, he had this ferita, this wounded, and a point that was that he couldn't move his feet. So I suddenly thought that some nerve could have been involved in this stabbing. And speaking with him, I convinced that it was a good idea to go to the hospital. So after some days we went to the hospital, and we have been treated in a good way from the local doctors, infirmary. Everyone was kind and professional. Even if it was said to me that this was not happening so very often, that to find these kind doctors, but this time it was. So we made some 1-2 visit, and then we should have gone to a specialistic visit. It happens, but then the doctor was not there, so we went back home with the idea to go the next days. But then I couldn't speak anymore with this guy. He was not answering to me by telephone, and mostly probably because, as his friend told me, they were in idea to go for the game. And so this Afghan guy as well, even if he couldn't walk very well and had this problem, better that to stay here in Bihac alone or maybe in the hospital. He decided, even wanted, to go with them to try this game. And so now I think he's working in the forest somewhere, and I hope he reaches the place where he wants to go.
Well, I hope he's all right. I suppose we don't know his situation now. He's not in not in our hands anymore.
No.
Not our responsibility. Well, it's never our responsibility.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, well, thanks, Alberto. Was there anything else you'd like to add? Any other
Thank you
experiences?
to you, Ben. No, for now everything is good. The situation is not an emergency, at least for medical stuff, but we always keep our eyes open and ready to do something, what we can do. So.
Great. Grazie.
Prego, Ben. It was a pleasure.
Okay, finally, we're now going to hear from Joe. Remember them? Joe was in charge of communications while I was in Bihac, and we're going to talk to them now about the police's treatment of them as activists and how the police have affected NNK's work in Bosnia. And then we're going to end this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Can you talk a bit about how the authorities react to your work here in Bihac?
We're pretty sure that the police are very aware of our activities here. I mean, they know organisations work in this area because they know how much of a big hub this area is for POMs. And so I think sometimes they try to ramp up their resistance towards us in order to kind of make sure we don't feel totally relaxed somehow. When we were near one of the camps recently, we were giving food and clothing to some people, and there was a police patrol that came around. We closed our boot, the POMs left, and actually the police patrol shouted at the POMs, go back to the camp. And then we knew we were kind of in trouble. So then they took our documents, they photographed them, they used a technique where they tried to kind of separate us in a way. I was there from the UK, my friend from Germany was there, a friend from Italy was there, and a friend from Turkey was there.
When was this, sorry?
This was on the 8th of March, Women's Day, ironically. And when this happened, the guy, he spoke really good English. There were two officers, and he spoke, good English, but he saw that my friend had a Turkish passport, so then he only decided to speak in Turkish. And he asked he asked her questions like, what are you doing here? We know about your organisation, and they let us go, and the guy said to our friend that he was going to contact the SFA, who are
they deal with foreigners. I think the F is for foreigners. We can add this in.
Exactly.
Hey, Editing Ben here. The SFA is the Service for Foreign Affairs, which is, according to my Googling, is an independent administration within the Ministry of Security that is responsible for the entry and stay of foreigners in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So there you go.
And then she was like, please don't do that. It would be very inconvenient for us. Can you please not do that? And he said, okay, fine, I won't do it. Anyway, 12 days later, we get a knock at the door in the morning, and the person who opens the door, our friend, says, oh, come, everybody has to come. They're asking for everyone's documents. So they take everyone's documents, they write down who's staying in the house, and then one of the people, the Italian person who was with us, she's already gone and left Bosnia. But then myself, the German, and the Turkish person, we are all told to go to the border, the SFA office at 11 o'clock. So it's not much time, from 9 till 11. And we were worried, we were anxious about what was going to happen. We knew we were going to get interrogated, by who, to what degree. It was all pretty up in the air. But we got some kind of preparation workshop from our country reference. And we were also told our embassy number in case things got really bad, so we could call the embassy. Anyway, and then we went down, and the Turkish person was interrogated for the longest, I think 40-50 minutes. Then, because they'd done most of the speaking when the officer had come. Then the German person, because they were driving the car and they were asked questions about the car, and they were spoken to for 30 minutes, and then I was the last person who was spoken to, and it was for 20 minutes. And I was asked what I was doing, why I was here, under what pretenses I was in Bihac, and then it was explained to me what the rules are in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the woman told me that it's illegal to give things and to help people. She literally said it's illegal to help people unless you're like a registered organization. She said even if she wanted to give things to a homeless person or to anyone she thought was in need on the street, she would have to go through an organization.
That sounds like bullshit to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, or a deeply, deeply authoritarian state, right?
Exactly. And it's mind-boggling. It's just like, what are you actually saying? Do you really believe this?
Yeah.
But somehow, yeah, she believed it. And also, somewhere supposedly it's written down, but I haven't seen it. And from speaking to other organizations and people who run them, they've never seen this law. But anyway, so then at the end of the interrogation, after she'd taken all of the things we'd said, she'd written them all down. She gave us this letter, which looked 100% like it was pre-written. So she kind of told us that what we would tell her and our account would be taken into consideration, but we could tell 100, like it was definitely not taken into consideration. So then she handed us this letter and asked us to sign it. We wouldn't sign anything. We didn't sign anything because, first of all, it was all in Bosnian and they weren't going to translate it for us. And the letter said that we gave medical equipment to people, which is not true, and that we gave food and clothing to people. We gave donations to people, and that was not legal for us to do. And the repercussions were that we were going to be expelled. We had to leave the country. And I was just like, okay, this is the worst thing that could happen for us. And we were kind of warned about this. I didn't expect it to really actually happen in reality. And that was kind of all she said. And I was like, okay, let me just ask you a few questions. Like, how long are we being expelled for? And she said, oh, just 24 hours. All you need to do is pop over the border to Croatia and come back. And then you're fine again. So that was really confusing. But then she said, if we catch you doing the same thing again, we'll expel you for a year. So that was quite shocking, and obviously I don't want that. Yeah, that's the expulsion story.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, I just find it unfathomable,
Mm-hmm.
if that's how you say the word,
Mm-hmm.
that you can, like, they can kick you out of the or expel you from the country, like you're in school or something,
Mm-hmm.
for just giving people food, water, coat, or whatever. Like, you just imagine doing that. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah. There is a criminalisation of people on the move. There's also criminalisation of the solidarity of people helping people on the move, because it's just such a hot topic. It's such a political topic. People don't want people moving through their country or arriving in their country, especially the EU and especially the UK, you know. All these countries, they use migrants and people on the move as scapegoats for other problems, and you can see the right, like, capitalizing on people, like, trying to find a better life in a different country as a way to kind of stoke the fires of support me, we need, like, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
And lots of people come from Syria and Afghanistan, and I mean, Syria's obviously like in a state of upheaval because of the war, and then Afghanistan recently, Sharia law was just allowed, which I mean, just part of the Sharia law that I read was recently legalized was stoning women again if they have affairs. You know, torture, corrupt governments, terrible economic states, for example in Morocco, like incentivize people to come to Europe and enter the EU. And also some problems that exist in these countries, especially in some of the African countries that were colonies, they exist because of what the EU, like the people in Europe have done to them. Like, yes, in the past, but still today, Europe does so many terrible things, like dumping loads of waste in Turkey, or like having things produced in countries because they're so much cheaper and the labour is so much more cost efficient. There's going to be consequences, and I think after speaking to my friend about this kind of like karmic comeuppance, I feel like yes, there are problems with infrastructure. We don't have the infrastructure in lots of European countries to be able to like handle a large influx in population or a big population influx, but things need to change. There needs to be a lot more freedom of movement. And that same friend that I was talking to about this karmic energy, she was telling me that the human right of freedom of movement was actually originally created by the colonists. They said we need freedom of movement to be able to go to all these places to kind of use them till they're run into the ground. And now when other people from different places want to use, like, try and exercise that human right of freedom of movement, no, we can't, because you're black, brown, you come from these places where your cultures are too different from us, and it's just such a double standard. Yeah, it really pisses me off.
Well, that's a good place to end it there,
Yeah.
on the rage. Thanks very much, Joe.
My pleasure. Sorry, I probably spoke for way too long.
No, it's very good. Thanks very much. All right, that is it for part 2 of episode 58. It's been an epic mission to edit these 2 episodes together. They sound a little bit disjointed at times. I've really tried my best to make this something special, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to give me some feedback on this episode or on the Civil Fleet at all, if you want to pitch stories, we have other people can write for the Civil Fleet, it's not just me, then get in touch with me. You can email me at info@civilfleet.com. I've never done an episode like this before, so I would love to know what you think, and hopefully in the future, if I can get some more money together, I can produce another episode like this. So yeah, that email address is info@civilfleet.com. Get in touch and tell me what you think of the podcast. You can also give us ratings and stuff like that on iTunes and Spotify and all those things. We're on YouTube as well, so you can go and give us whatever. You can give us thumbs up, like and subscribe and all that shit on there. That would really help. I really hope this podcast inspires people to go out and do some kind of activism related to migration, or to give people things to tell other people about the real situation of what's happening from people on the ground and from the actual people on the move, which I think is incredibly invaluable. Right, I'll start blowing smoke up my own arse now, and let's do the things we normally do at the end of the podcast. Go check out thecivilfleet.com. I'm going to have some more of the interviews that I couldn't get into this podcast on there. Might also put some in on Ko-fi. I'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, so the Civil Fleet, it's not just a podcast, it's also a news blog with interviews, exclusive stories, news reports, and all kinds of stuff. Go to civilfleet.com to check that out. We've recently had an article from a writer called Hannah Gillett, and she's writing about the situation at the US-Mexico border. She interviewed some activists there, and it's really great. The Silver Fleet tended to focus on Fortress Europe, but there's a different situation over there, so I really encourage you to read that article. It's brilliant. I've got an exclusive story on there about the numbers of people who died in UK Home Office asylum seeker accommodation, which is really grim. So go and check that out. It's currently an election happening as I'm recording this right now. There's an election happening in the UK. So when we talk about immigration, the deaths of asylum seekers already in this country never gets talked about. So if I can blow smoke up my own arse again, I would say that story is really good and you should check it out. And if you would like to help the Silver Fleet to continue doing what it's doing, if you'd like to help us to continue to platform the amazing activists, journalists, people on the move, the lawyers, the campaigners, the great people that we've had on this podcast, trade unionists as well. We've had a trade unionist on here. You can do that by donating the price of a coffee or the price of my flights to Bosnia, if you like. You can go to ko-fi.com/silverfleet. That's ko-fi.com/silverfleet. The Silver Fleet is totally independent, just run by me, totally grassroots journalism. And if you want to support this kind of stuff, which I think is important, then you can do so there. All right, I'll be back soon with another episode, I think. Keep your eyes peeled for bonus episodes that I might do, because I have lots of stuff left over that I couldn't fit into this episode, and I'm going to get it out there some way. Maybe I will post those on Ko-fi, so if you sign up, then you can get those, or if you donate some money, you can get access to those. Anyway, that's enough of me. That's enough of episode 58. See you later. Bye-bye.
Are we going? Oh, hi. Do you want to say something?
Hi, Ben. It's recording. Hi, Ben. I just would like to thank you for what you're doing, and I'm really looking forward to hear the episode in which I'm making so many grammar mistakes in English. Wait. We can do some ASMR, like...
ASMR. Has everybody gone already?
Good morning. Good morning, Ben. I hope you had a good day.
Oh.
I'm sure you will hear this audio. Now you will hear Joe eating some cake.
Well, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
This cake seems delicious. Now, hear the cutting. Now you will hear Anouk farting. Anouk! I'm so sorry about that.
Ben is a professional. I was the head of communications. I think you need to stop.
I love that Joe is so responsible for their job. Joe, would you like to thank somebody to drink the Coke?
Listen to this one. Oh yes. I would really love some Coke now. Please, I want to hear that. No.
Amazing. We're happy that you were here and you could listen to our beautiful voice.